329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Tyler McComas and Parker Thune.
You know, I spent some time before the show today trying to think back to a defensive performance by OU that felt as special as the one on Saturday night did. And I thought of the 2017 Ohio State game. I know everyone remembers Baker planting the flag, but the OU defense kept OU in the game that night. They were really, really good in the horseshoe. The last time you played Tennessee in 2015, same thing. Defense kept you in the game and got the game-sealing interception. But I think that you can make a hell of a case that defensive performance on Saturday night was both of those, and maybe the best defensive performance that we've seen at OU in a long, long time. And then saying that out loud makes it all the more maddening that you lost this game at home, and you lost this game by double digits. Parker, Tennessee had 345 yards of total offense. And I know some will say, well, they really got conservative in the second half. Well, that's fine. Whatever. The point is, Tennessee had under 350 total yards. I bet they will not play another football game this year where they do not eclipse 350 total yards. They still got to play Bama. They still got to play Georgia. I think OU held Tennessee to a number that is probably going to be their lowest of the entire season. And so that's great. That's awesome for the defense, and we'll give them and sing all the praises. But, God, man, it just makes it all the more frustrating that you couldn't take advantage of one of the better defensive performances we've seen in a long time.
Answer me this, Tyler. And obviously this was never going to happen, and I understand that. But if Michael Hawkins starts that game, does Oklahoma win?
Well, I mean, it's at least a football game in the fourth quarter. Do I think Michael Hawkins fumbles immediately after at the 5-yard line? No, I don't think so. Does he have two other I guess one, the last one was an interception. I mean, they're at least in the game. I think that they have a chance, but
so that right there,
that's
the saving grace of that performance, Tyler, is that you saw enough from Hawkins on Saturday night to believe that this offense is going to be able to kick it into gear and at least be able to score. Now, score 40, 50 points a game, as in the old Big 12? No, that's not realistic right now. But this offense had a dimension with Hawkins at the controls that it just hasn't had with Jackson Arnold. He made many a throw over the course of the second half of that game that we just haven't seen Jackson Arnold make this year. And so if you expect that the offense is going to get better and the defense is already good enough to keep you in the game, and Oklahoma was in that game all the way up until the very end, Tyler. They converted 2-point conversion with a minute 18 left. It's a one-possession game, and you got all three timeouts.
And they handed it on a silver platter the entire night. Like, please, offense, do something, please, anything.
I think what you showed against Tennessee, if nothing else, well, two things, good and bad. One, your offense is in miserable shape right now.
Oh, God, yes.
Especially up front. And Michael Hawkins might solve a lot of issues, but he's not going to solve all of them. But despite that, you played good enough football defensively. You played more than good enough football defensively to prove that if your offense is functioning to any degree, you can hang with anybody on your schedule.
You can win a national championship with that defense.
You can.
That defense can win you a national championship.
Now,
that offense...
That offense cannot right now.
That offense maybe takes you to Vegas for the Las Vegas to play Washington State. Heck, I don't even know if they get you to 6 wins at this point. But those 3 turnovers that they had, and look, it wasn't all Jackson Arnold, but he was bad on Saturday. There's no other way to say it. Yeah. I mean, Parker, those aren't turnovers that you say, oh, those are just things that happen. That's just kind of football. The ball, sometimes doesn't bounce your way. You can't excuse. Those are unforgivable turnovers. Like what they look like in the spots that they were in. And I don't know what Brent Venables is going to say tonight at the Rudy Show. I don't know what he's going to say tomorrow at the press conference. Maybe he just says tonight what I think that we already know, that Michael Hawkins is the starting quarterback this Saturday against Auburn. Maybe he says we're going to practice this week and figure it out. But, dude, I'm sorry. There is no way, and I mean No way they can trust the first-team offense out there on Saturday without Michael Hawkins as your starting quarterback. And I agree with what you said. Like, is he the better quarterback right now given the situation that they have? I think that. I do. I think that. And he gave you a spark. He gave up his body. Like, that was the play to me especially. Like, I already thought that before, but that was the play like, all right, man, that's your dude right there.
Yeah,
like,
he's going all out.
He's willing to do that. The entire team saw it, right? They see the same things we do. You can't throw Jackson Arnold out there on Saturday. Michael Hawkins has to be your starting quarterback moving forward because in terms of any positives that we want to bring up on offense right now, let's list some positives offensively right now. There's probably one, and all it is right now is hope that your freshman quarterback can at least give you a spark offensively. I am not naive that he takes this offense from bad to really good. He can't do it alone, but he's at least a better option right now. You've got to start the dude.
Have to. Absolutely have to. And I think Venables he cannot wait. He cannot put this off. He cannot give us coach speak answers tonight or tomorrow. He has to issue a clear and decisive message, I think, not only for the good of the fan base, but for the good of his own locker room. Hey, this is the guy that we're uniting behind.
I'd like to hear that.
This is the guy that's going to lead us moving forward. We're going to give him the ball against Auburn. We're going to trust him to give us a shot in the Cotton Bowl against Texas. This is our new starting quarterback. This is the new centerpiece of our offense. There has to be a very clear message from the top down that we're all on board with this. We're going full steam ahead.
And let him play on Saturday. He may make an early mistake. That may happen. But again, you got to let him work through some of the mistakes as a young quarterback with the situation around him. I don't want this to be a spot for Michael Hawkins where, okay, he throws a turnover or he throws an interception on the third series, and it's like, yep, all right, we got to go. No. Just he's a young quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. He's not perfect. The situation around him is bad right now. Let him work through some of that on Saturday, man, and we'll see what the game looks like. But I don't think that you can have a quick hook on Michael Hawkins at this point.
No, and
on Saturday,
as we discussed earlier this season, if this is the decision that you make at any point, you got to roll with it. There's no going back. At this point, the signal that you have sent, and again, the message hasn't been communicated yet, but the signal that you send by pulling Jackson Arnold for Michael Hawkins is that we are committed to Michael Hawkins for the remainder of the 2024 season unless he either gets injured or is just so incomprehensibly bad that we have no choice but to go further down the depth chart and give Casey Thompson a shot. This is what you're riding with.
So we've got a ton of text already on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, and just a couple of more points, and we'll get to as many as we can today. We're probably going to eclipse about 300 texts this hour, which is awesome. But how about for just 1 minute, let's talk about what we know about this team currently through 4 games, a third of the way through the regular season, what we know now that we didn't know about this team. And unfortunately, it's probably going to make Saturday and even the start of the season all the more disappointing. What do we know now through 4 weeks? Well, we knew going into the year that this defense was good, but we didn't know how good they really were, right? Like, okay, I think that they're going to be good, but is it too early to use the word elite? Like, let's see how the first 3 weeks go. Let's see how they perform against Tennessee. Would you be willing to agree that the defense up to this point has exceeded most people's expectations?
I would agree.
I said before the year on SEC Unfiltered, and I think on this show as well, that I thought OU had a real chance to be the better defense in every single SEC game it plays this year. Obviously, they don't play Georgia, but they do play Alabama, and I'm not really backing off of that after what I've seen so far this year. So the defense is not just good; they're really good. They exceed a lot of people's expectations. Special teams, special teams has been solid, wouldn't you say? They weren't great against Houston necessarily, but Keltner has missed 1 field goal. I'd say your field goal kicker, your field goal situation has been probably better than what you thought it'd be up to this point, right? So defense, as good, if not better. Special teams, solid. If you say that before the year, you're feeling really good about the first 4 games of the season. But here you are at 3-1, and a lot of people are pushing the panic button on what the rest of the season is going to look like because the offense has been that poor.
Recruiting Boomer on the text line asks, how the F did Jackson Arnold win MVP at the Elite 11, Gatorade Player of the Year, and get a 5-star rating with those abilities? Well, Recruiting Boomer, as we discussed in the 12 o'clock hour, it's not a matter of ability with Jackson Arnold. It's never been.
Yep.
It's the head.
Confidence,
Jackson Arnold is a complete head case right now, and that was not on my bingo card. I don't think that was on anybody's bingo card.
That last turnover that he had, I mean, that throw to Reagan's, you know what? I think everyone knows what that throw is. That throw is, hey, our quarterback's really struggling right now. Let's just give him an easy throw. Let's give him a short opportunity to maybe get in rhythm a little bit, hopefully get this guy out in space, but here's an easy completion. And he short-hopped it to the guy and ended up being a turnover.
And from what Brent Venables said in postgame, I don't even think that ball was supposed to be thrown. I don't think throwing the ball was an option there. I think Reagan's coming in motion was just kind of something to confuse the defense, throw a little wrinkle in there. It did not sound like Venables, again, from what Venables communicated to us in postgame, it did not sound like Jackson Arnold was supposed to throw that ball. It's supposed to be a run all the way.
Rob Dog from Dale, I'm nervous if we continue down this path offensively, we will lose recruits and go down a cyclical path of offensive suck. It doesn't always have to work out that way, I guess. I mean, it can happen if you're struggling offensively and, you know, one or two guys decommit, but Auburn's got a top 5 class right now. And as bad as OU looks offensively, Auburn might look worse offensively than OU. It's actually a pretty close race up to this point, and they've been able to keep their class intact for the most part. So it doesn't always work out that way, but sure, you definitely don't want to put yourself in that situation. Puerto Rican Sooner, Tyler, salute to you for making it through Saturday's postgame because it was the end of the world for some people. Only one live F-bomb on the air. Pretty good. Pretty good, guys. Solid performance. And the fans, you guys, awesome. Awesome on Saturday. You brought it. You were loud. I mean, it should have been an even better atmosphere if the offense takes care of what they needed to take care of. But the OU fans that showed up and showed out, they were excellent, man. And if you take that turnover by the defense, Parker, from the 5-yard line, and you punch it in, and what would it have been at that point, a 10-10 football game or a 12-10 football game, whatever, that place would have come unglued. Unglued on that touchdown in that next defensive series. But when they were given a reason to be really loud, OU fans were excellent, man. You guys showed up and you did your part. Tennessee, how many false start penalties did they have in the first half of that game? I remember at least a couple. I felt like they had a decent amount of penalties the first half. OU fans are great, man.
Yeah. I will say the one throw that Hawkins probably wishes he had back, and it's a throw that could have changed the game in a major way, even as dire as things looked at the time, was that 4th and 14 from OU's own territory where he's got daylight to get the ball to Jaquez Petaway on that corner route and move the chains, and he sails it. That's the one throw.
Okay, but right? One throw he want back.
Yeah. But everything else was very sharp. He threw the ball away when he needed to throw it away. He checked down when he needed to check down. He tucked and ran when he needed to tuck and run.
There was just a noticeable spark. It didn't matter how much football you've watched in your life. You could tell, like, hey, this kid is in now. There's a spark. Like, and I love that he knew that was his opportunity, right? Like Michael Hawkins ran to the game knowing, all right, man, like I got a chance to take this over. I got a chance to make this my job. And I do think there's something to be said that I don't know if you want to say that he was A+, but he was pretty good. He was one of the few bright spots offensively. He took advantage of his opportunity, and not a whole lot of guys have done that this year, man. Taking advantage of their opportunity when they get chances in a game.
Yeah.
Not everyone's done that.
The Waffler asked, hey, Parker, do you still plead the 5th? Remind me what I pleaded the 5th on. Waffler was –
I don't remember either.
Did I get asked if Arnold or Hawkins was better at some point? Like, I imagine it's something to that effect, but remind me, Waffler. Remind me.
Spartan Sooner getting Hawkins' confidence in an Auburn win on the road and then 2 weeks to prepare for Texas. You feel much better, especially with this defense. And that's why, and I think you agree, that's why I say, like, look, if Hawkins throws 4 picks in the first half, I'm not saying roll with him there, but if he has a couple of mistakes early, like, just work through that because get through this game, win this game, And then, you got a couple of weeks to prepare for Texas. Just you don't want to have to make another quarterback change after this week.
Well, and Auburn's they're a downtrodden team, and they're in total disarray right now. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't go down to the Plains and stomp Auburn. And so, look, Hawkins could make a couple mistakes, and I don't think that's reason to bail on the guy. But all in all, I think this should be a football game where Oklahoma goes down and maybe makes a statement is the wrong phrasing, but at the very least has a lot to build off as far as the confidence
Get some
factor
confidence
is concerned.
back. That's the word.
For both
confidence.
Hawkins and the defense. For the defense, it's sustaining what you did against Tennessee. For Hawkins, it's building off some of those flashes, those encouraging flashes that we saw down the stretch against the Vols. Just getting the feel of having 60 minutes as QB1, going through a full week of first-team reps, and then ideally that sets you up as well as you could reasonably be set up, given the circumstances, to go and give Texas a run for their money in the Cotton Bowl.
One more before we hit a break. We'll get to a bunch next segment. My wife knows nothing about football, says a texter from the 405, but she clearly knew Jackson Arnold had to be pulled and that Hawkins looked way sharper and more confident. Doesn't matter your level of football IQ. Everyone can see it. Everyone knows what needs to happen moving forward.
And there was a very loud roar in that building when Hawkins entered the game.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if that's because they were that excited about Hawkins or whether they just wanted anybody but Jackson Arnold at that point. But there was a loud ovation in that place when Hawkins entered the game for the first time.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We'll get to that and more from this OU-Tennessee matchup on Saturday. The OU offense, bad. OU defense, look elite to me. Really, really good. Just hope they can get some help from the offensive side at some point this year. More to come next right here on The Ref.
The word is spreading, and the Ref Army is growing. Keep telling your friends and family that there's only one station for true Sooner fans, and that's the Ref Radio Sports Network, and worldwide on the KREF app.
The Showplace Theater at Riverwind is the best place for live music.
And we've got some of the best acts around, like Jewel and Melissa Etheridge, October 3rd. Gary Allen, October 4th. Chris Jansen and Easton Corbin, October 5th. Travis Tritt, October 25th. Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Matthew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
As we wonder why our kids are struggling, someone is getting bullied. As we discuss how to improve their mental health, someone is being harassed on social media. As we wonder why they're skipping school, someone is crying themselves to sleep. Knowing the signs is the best way to prevent bullying.
Please just leave me alone.
Learn the signs at sandyhookpromise.org.
When students struggle because they are hungry
or fall behind because they lack school supplies,
a caring adult can make all the difference.
Especially someone from the community.
Someone who knows the students
and the obstacles they might be facing.
At Communities in Schools, our site coordinators surround students with a community of support
to ensure that they have everything they need to engage in learning.
We go all in for kids, all day, every day.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org.
Discover the path to sobriety, emotional well-being, and lasting positive change with the Virtue Center, a nonprofit serving Oklahoma since 1972. Specializing in addiction, gambling, and mental health-related services, we offer same-day walk-in screening appointments Monday through Friday and serve ages 12 and up, as well as individual clients or families. Give us a call at 405-321-0022 or visit thevirtuecenter.org to learn more.
If you're caring for someone with COPD, you probably have a lot of questions. Caregivers juggle many roles. The right resources can help. The COPD Caregivers Toolkit is a free resource that provides information about COPD to help you prepare for doctor visits, support a healthy home, and take care of yourself. Visit nhlbi.nih.gov/COPD-caregivers.
Hey y'all, I'm Kelly Clarkson. Every American dreams of creating a better life for his or her family, but in some communities, those dreams face difficult challenges. When we come together to help those in need get the same opportunities as everyone else, we truly are making our country a better place to live for all of us. So look for volunteer opportunities in your community to help others achieve the American dream, all right? This message is courtesy of the United States Air Force.
Every moment counts if you're at risk or living with lung cancer. And anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. It causes more cancer deaths than breast, colon, and prostate combined. And while there may be moments where you question your next step, through it all, Go-To for Lung Cancer is here for you. We are your community. For screening, treatment, and survivorship support, Go-To is your go-to. Confronting lung cancer starts here. Visit goto.org.
Locked in with McComas and Thune, live on the Ref for the Homeless Sooner fans. Tyler McComas, Parker Thune, the Ref Army, listening worldwide via the free KREF app. Just search KREF in the App Store to listen to the Ref wherever you're at on the go worldwide. Atlanta, Georgia is tuned in today. Huntsville, Alabama, Federal Way, Washington, Odessa, Texas, Richmond, Virginia, San Jose, California, Dayton, Ohio, Altus, Oklahoma, all checking in via the free KREF app. And our Ref Army Locators brought to you by Affordable Door Company, where they compromise on the price but not on the quality. Visit them online at affordabledoor.net. That's affordabledoor.net, or call 405-635-9499. Okay, to the text line we go. He is still JFA. It's just a different emphasis on the F. That's the first text ever from this number.
Wow. It's a banger of an opening text.
Yeah. Roger in L.A., who we talked to after the game on Saturday. What do we know after 4 games? 1, with Arnold at quarterback, worst OU offense since 1998. 2, best OU defense since 2009. 3, Seth Luttrell was a lazy hire by OU rather than going outside the program and getting a bright offensive mind. 4, Michael Hawkins must start Saturday or you will lose this football team. Roger's got a lot there. I'll read one more paragraph. Have not seen 2 more terrible turnovers than when Arnold handed the ball back at the Tennessee 4 and 40, exactly 1 play after getting gift-wrapped 2 turnovers by the OU defense. And by the way, his interception was high school crap. He threw into triple coverage so bad. He had looked like he had Burks open in the middle of the field. I don't know where he's throwing.
He did have
there.
Burks coming open there.
And how's Burks not your first read? Anytime you drop back based on what we've seen to this point, man.
I don't know, but it was reminiscent of Spencer Rattler's first quarter in the Red River Showdown against Texas in 2021. It became very, very apparent with each missed read, with each error, that we're getting very, very close to Yankem territory. And ultimately, it was undeniable after the lateral that turned into a fumble.
Yep,
that shouldn't have been a lateral. It was undeniable at that point. Okay, you have to make the switch now.
Because I felt at the time, and I'm sure many others did, that after that second turnover, it was, dude is one more mistake away from Michael Hawkins going into the game. Yep. And he made the next mistake pretty soon after, and then there you go.
And look, you can argue it's overdue, but I think Venables and his staff did the proper thing, which was you gave him every last opportunity. You gave him every inch of runway, every inch of leash to be able to give you something to hold on to believe that he can continue to be this team's starting quarterback. And it was just one thing on top of another, Tyler.
405, can you name a worse offensive line in D1 than ours? Maybe Colorado? I mean, they're just bad. They can't run the ball. They can't pass protect. I mean, Parker, there's a lot of plays where – giving up a sack to a good defensive line like Tennessee, that's going to happen, right? They've got some really good players. Sometimes you just get beat. But and this is happening way too much this year. it's like no one even gets blocked at times, or they completely whiff, or it's just like one move and the dude's already in the backfield. It's like, wow.
And to me, it all goes back to communication because, they're getting walked back in many cases. They're not holding it. Like Heath Ozida and Fabechi Wiwu and Branson Hickman, for that matter. Every single member of that interior offensive line had a rough night on Saturday. But I think it all starts with communication, which is not a strength right now for this offensive line. I don't know how much of a strength it can be given how many different combinations of that offensive line we have seen and how many combinations they've had to work through on the practice field. But communication has to get better. It has to, because if guys aren't sure of who to block, well, then they're already in the wrong headspace at the snap. They're setting themselves up for failure, and they're potentially opening lanes to the quarterback for rushers to come scot-free, which we saw time and again on Saturday night. Guys just going completely untouched with a free and clear shot to the quarterback.
You know, someone asked me yesterday, hey, at what point do you just throw EPL and Eugene Brooks in there and just say we're going to kind of learn on the job? Well, you can do that, but, you know, there's a chance, Parker, and we may not be that far away from it. I mean, we're kind of there now outside of those two offensive linemen we just mentioned. But there's a chance that we could look up in a few weeks, hey, maybe even this week, and say, okay, you've got like one or two true freshmen playing a lot of snaps on the offensive line. You've got a true freshman at quarterback. Taylor Tatum's a true freshman at running back. Reagan's is a true freshman playing a lot. I mean, there could be some offensive possessions where you have 5, 6 of your players out there on offense are true freshmen. I mean, they've gotten young in a hurry, man. It has not taken them long to look like one of the younger offenses in the SEC.
No. That situation at receiver is borderline unsalvageable at this point. I mean, guys have to step up. And what it may take is a guy like Jacoby Johnson to get thrown into the mix. They may need to move him over from cornerback. This is not the first time that we've discussed this. And again, I am fully on board with that. But you gotta look for solutions, man. And I don't know if there are solutions in that room as it stands. There might be, but we have no reason to think that right now based on what we have seen. Joe from Tipton says, Parker, haven't you always been on the Hawkins hype train? You got to be on cloud 9. I mean, look, I am the literal OG on the Hawkins hype train. And so I'm stoked for that kid. He's earned it. At the same time, what is unfortunate and honestly what has me hurting, and again, I want everybody to be able to have some humanity here. What Jackson Arnold is going through, you do not wish upon
Sucks,
anybody.
man. He's a good dude.
He is a good dude. He's a good teammate. He's a good leader. He's a good human being. And he just can't get out of his own way right now, unfortunate as that is. And so it's unfortunate that one guy's ascension has to come at the expense of somebody else. But that's life at the University of Oklahoma at the quarterback position, man. If you're not performing, the hook's going to come.
And there's no promise that he starts another game at OU. I mean, that could certainly be on the table. We'll see what happens here moving forward. James in Lawton says, Roger in L.A. is 1,000% correct. Pathetic. Was a big believer in J.A., and he has all the tools, but his decision-making is just awful. Hopefully he can right the ship at some point, but it's time for a change, and this is it. Yeah, I mean, look, Jackson Arnold's a good dude. He's a good kid. But at this point, in my opinion, you are doing a disservice to your entire football team if you do not start Michael Hawkins on Saturday. And that is still with the understanding that it ain't going to look perfect and there will be mistakes. I mean, Michael Hawkins can only do so much with the offensive line, the running back, the tight end, the wide receiver situation that he has around him. He can only do so much. There are going to be mistakes. But he's your best option right now. I mean, both quarterbacks essentially played a half of football on Saturday, and one looked way more capable than the other. That's what I saw.
A 405 listener says, Hawkins is 180 pounds. He's not ready for SEC football. Name another 180-pounder at that position in the SEC. What planet are we living on? He's listed at 196, and he's every ounce of 196. Whoever told you he's 180 pounds is completely mistaken. A 713 listener says, Thune, you don't get to claim Hawkins hype train. You were on the JFA hype train for the last year. So I have to believe in one or not the other? No, look, I was a believer in Jackson Arnold. There were a lot of believers in Jackson Arnold. It was very understandable to be a believer in Jackson Arnold. I thought Jackson Arnold was going to be really successful at the University of Oklahoma. I did not foresee this. I will freely acknowledge that. But I believe I have said it before on these airwaves. I know I've said it somewhere. If I've written it or maybe I've said it on the Under the Visor podcast, I have thought for quite some time that Michael Hawkins has potential to be the next Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Oklahoma. I believe the ceiling is immense for him. It doesn't have to be a case where you buy Arnold or you buy Hawkins. No, I liked Arnold. I still think he will end up having success at the collegiate level somewhere, even if not at the University of Oklahoma. But, yeah, I was an early adopter on Hawkins. And anybody who watched him in high school, again, anybody who watched him in high school could see that dude's just cut a little bit different, and he's going to be special.
708, love the national narrative going to OU is hot garbage, and we got stomped when that game is a tight loss or win with even an average offense showing up. This team could still surprise people this year. I mean, again, that defense can do some special things. I mean, it's really good, but they are not in a place offensively to where they can help this team do some special things. They're going to have to get better drastically, and they're going to have to do so in like less than a week. And I don't know how realistic that is right now. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of crap things about that game on Saturday, but a couple of things that stand out. One, it sucks that you proved everyone right again. Everyone nationally was picking against you. Big-time football game with the entire country watching. Now, I think a lot of people are saying today how good the OU defense is, right? So you did showcase that, but you had the big stage again, a big opportunity, and you lost. So you proved a lot of people right again. But most importantly, not only did you lose, you came away with more injuries. And what happened to Kendall Dolby on Saturday is it's just awful, man. He was having a fantastic year, really, really good player, a very important player on this defense. It stinks, man, that Dolby had that injury. That was just tough, man. Just tough.
Yeah.
Tough night on Owen Field.
At least he can come back next year. It's tough to look for a silver lining in a situation like this amidst a guy's misfortune, but Dolby will have the opportunity to come back next year. And in the meantime, I do have a lot of faith, Tyler, in Sammy Omosigho to be able to play that cheetah position at a high level.
Let's get to the YouTube Live comments. KREF Sports on YouTube. Go subscribe to us there. SDR says Petaway and Hester have to step up. I mean, do we not think that in terms of bright spots offensively on Saturday, and there weren't a lot of them, but Petaway probably garnered some more playing time moving forward? I think you got to play Petaway more after what you saw on Saturday, especially if Michael Hawkins is your quarterback.
Yeah, well, and I think there's going to be preference given as far as the snap count goes to the guys that Michael Hawkins has been throwing to on the practice field, especially if those guys are performing on Saturdays. And Jacquez Petaway did have a strong performance on Saturday. Undeniably his strongest game of his Oklahoma career to this point.
Patrick says going to be wet and windy on Saturday. Yeah, a hurricane or a tropical storm, whatever, may be rolling through the southeast at the end of this week. That's just what we need, right? That makes everything better, a giant storm rolling through. I know Pate said earlier that his source was saying that it could be pretty dry across the state of Alabama on Saturday at least. I believe that storm's going to roll through on Thursday, but yeah, we'll monitor that situation. And one more from the chat here. RGK86 says, "Are we sure it's Hawkins' job?" I mean, they haven't said it. They haven't publicly said it, but I mean, come on. He has to be. The fans at Jordan-Hare Stadium on Saturday, myself included, will revolt if he is not the starting quarterback on Saturday. And then what? You don't start Hawkins, and then he makes an early mistake, Jackson Arnold, and then you just go right back to Hawkins.
The easiest way to alienate the fan base, and that's the last thing as a head coach that you want to do, easiest way to alienate the fan base at this point is to trot Jackson Arnold back out there on Saturday. It just can't happen.
Leatherneck Sooner says, people are freaking out about our team, even without our offense functioning. Absolutely. Had possibly a college football playoff team sweating the whole time. We will still compete with everyone. I do think that Tennessee team, that looks like a team that can not only make the college football playoff, but that's a team that can host a first-round game in the college football playoff. I think Tennessee's pretty good. And I know that Heupel didn't necessarily put a ton on Nico's plate in that game. I think Tennessee got up by 2-3 scores, and Heupel said, all right, man, they can't score on us. They can't score 2 to 3 more times, so we're going to play it conservative here and run the ball. But the throws that Nico had to make, including on some of those slant Nico looked good when he had to just sit back there and rip it. I know he made a couple of mistakes in the game, but you can tell naturally he's really gifted. He's really gifted. He's a good player.
Yeah, he is. 405 listener says, for years we prayed for a defense with a pulse, just be average, and this offense will carry you. God must have an ironic sense of humor.
2 ships passing in the night.
Oh, man. If you look at the numbers, you look at the statistics through 4 games, Tyler, Oklahoma is Iowa.
Oh, dude.
That's what they are.
I can handle 1998 John Blake comparisons. Like, if you guys want to do that, and Roger already did that on the text line, worst offense since 1998. I don't disagree with that. The numbers would probably match up to that. But for some reason, I can stomach that a little bit more than I can the Iowa comparisons. That is where it really hurts. That's where it's bad, where this offense is currently at. What happens if Michael Hawkins isn't the answer? Then where do you go? Because here's your hope today. Where do you go moving forward if that's not the case?
I think Michael Hawkins is going to play well as the starting quarterback at the University of Oklahoma. If for whatever reason he doesn't, it's going to be a long season.
Well, Saturday to me is the game. Saturday isn't the game in terms of if they win, I think they're a college football playoff team again. Saturday's the game that if you lose this one and you're 3-2 on the season and you're 0-2 in SEC play with what you still have coming up, then we could really be looking at a bad scenario. Because in terms of SEC teams left on the schedule, and you play 7 of them, SEC teams left on the schedule, and forget home or away, just talent-wise where each team is at left on the schedule, I'd put Auburn last right now. I think Auburn's the worst team that you're going to play in the SEC this year. Now, that may not be the easiest game because you got to go on the road. Maybe South Carolina at home is the easiest game. But, dude, this is one of your more winnable games that you have on the schedule left. You're only going to be favored in maybe 3 games this year for the rest of the way. This one, South Carolina and Maine. You've got to win this one.
Got to get it done. Got to get it done, and I think got to get it done in pretty convincing fashion on both sides of the ball. Got to play well on offense, got to play well on defense, because you got to feel like you're going to feel like you have a chance going into the Cotton Bowl against Texas. You got to give the rest of the country, you got to give your fan base reason to believe that you got a chance going into the Cotton Bowl against Texas.
332 text this hour right now.
Sheesh.
So let's get it to 400 by the top of the 3 o'clock hour. I bet we can do that. 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. More of your text, more OU Tennessee reaction, and a whole lot more right here on the Ref.
Hey, Sooner Nation, Coach Stoops here. You're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Matthew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Center is one of the leaders in orthopedics and podiatry surgery in the state. With 6 orthopedic surgeons and 1 podiatrist, along with on-site PT and one of the largest open MRIs in the state, they are able to diagnose, treat, and help with recovery for a wide range of injuries. With offices located across the state, they are never too far away. Give them a call at 405-364-7900 or visit them on the web at orthonorman.com for appointments or more information.
How about this? We're hanging out with the winningest coach in OU football history, Bob Stoops, Mondays on the T-Row in the Morning Show. It's the Stoops Review with the HBC on the T-Row Show, Mondays from 7:45 to 8:30 with limited commercial interruption. Every Monday, we'll be looking back at Saturday's OU game with a guy who knows what he's looking at. Bob Stoops, the Visor, the HBC on our show every Monday. Check it out. Whether you're celebrating a special occasion, desire a great post-game, or after-work dining experience, the Ranch Steakhouse is the winning choice. At Ranch Steakhouse, we're grilling up the best USDA prime steaks in Oklahoma. Juicy, flavorful, and cooked to perfection. Pair that with an unbeatable atmosphere, a killer drink selection, and a wine list of over 400 personally curated bottles. Whether you're toasting the game or winding down after a big day, Ranch Steakhouse is where champions eat.
Every moment counts if you're at risk or living with lung cancer. And anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. It causes more cancer deaths than breast, colon, and prostate combined. And while there may be moments where you question your next step, through it all, Go-To for Lung Cancer is here for you. We are your community. For screening, treatment, and survivorship support, Go-To is your go-to. Confronting lung cancer starts here. Visit goto.org.
Hey, all you electricians out there. Are you unhappy with your job? Ever feel like some employers see you as just a name on a time card instead of a human being? Well, at Wade Electric, they're a third-generation family-owned company serving the Norman and Oklahoma City area for over 50 years. They value their employees and want to help them succeed and enjoy their career in the electrical field. If you are unsatisfied with your current situation and are ready to make a change, call Wade Electric at 405-329-1940 to hear about their benefits and learn how to join the team.
I know sometimes it's scary for our babies to get a heel prick. We don't want them to hurt, but that one tiny little heel stick can mean the difference in your baby's life and them being here and the quality of life if they don't get diagnosed early. So we're very thankful for the newborn screening test. If it weren't for that diagnosis at day 6, Jace wouldn't be here with us today. That test saved his life.
For more information, visit oklahoma.gov/health/newborn screening.
Ready to transform your backyard into a stunning oasis? At Deckworks, we specialize in high-end decks, patios, pergolas, gazebos, and other outdoor living experiences. With over 30 years of unmatched craftsmanship, we bring your backyard dreams to life. From luxurious decks to serene landscape gardens, experience the difference that only 30 years of dedication can deliver. Visit Deckworks.com, a Brent Swift company. Deckworks, where your dream backyard becomes reality.
Weekend wins. Hey,
really
Cortez Mills made it this weekend.
He did make
that?
it. He did make it. Tez was in town. I would assume that he's pretty, well, on the one hand, discouraged by the offense's performance, encouraged by the fact that he probably looked at that offense's performance and figured, I can come here and play right away.
Yeah.
Double-edged sword.
Anything to note? I mean, Deuce Gerald's isn't going to commit, I would guess, anywhere in the next 30 days.
I don't think if they had won this game, I think you would have gotten at least a couple commitments to Pop because of what the environment would have looked like start to finish and just obviously the product on the field being a winning one. As it stands, I think they did good things with a lot of guys that were in town. They had both of their 2027 quarterback targets in Peyton Houston and Trey Taylor on campus. So I don't think Oklahoma's far off from getting back on the board, whether that be in the 25 class or 26 or even 27. But in losing that game, they missed an opportunity, I think, to have a major surge of commits.
Yeah. Chris from Knoxville says, can we see if Cortez Mills can play now? I was going to make that joke too, Chris. That'd be nice. What's the worst that could happen at this point? Good interaction with Tennessee fans? Have any interaction with Tennessee fans? We had a bunch come by the tailgate on Saturday. SEC Mike and his dad stayed for like 2 hours with us on Saturday. Tennessee fans, the ones on the internet last week, not so great, not so nice. The actual Tennessee fans that don't live in their mom's basement and actually made it out to Norman were really cool. They were awesome.
Are there a lot of Tennessee fans that live in their mom's basement?
They sure acted like it on social media.
Oh, gotcha.
Certain things going on there. Yeah.
Tracking.
But no, Tennessee fans were cool, man.
A 913 listener asked, did PJ play Saturday? He did not. Still can't quite get past that lingering ankle injury.
405, slight change of subject, but is it illegal to change the Toby song third quarter? Beer for my horses is perfect. Tennessee fans love the courtesy of the red, white, and blue at the end of the third quarter. Did they not? I was kind of wondering, like, man, the way this night is going, this could be dead. I don't know if OU fans are going to get into this. But it ended up being pretty cool because it felt like it was mostly Tennessee fans singing it at that point in the game. They thought it was awesome.
They did. I mean, I think I took a look up at the crowd just to see who was singing along, who wasn't. Saw a lot of Vols fans singing along. Did not see a whole lot of Sooner fans getting into it.
Mike and Sepulpa, good news, fellas. With our offense being so bad, no team knows how to prepare for it. Excited about Hawk. I think he's going to get us going in the right direction. This offense has got another tough challenge again on Saturday. It's not as good as Tennessee's defense or Alabama's defense, but if Auburn can do anything well, I guess it would be on the defensive side at this point. So this isn't going to be they just roll in there and score 31 points. It could be tough sledding again on offense. 405, any idea if there is a ref presence at the Auburn game? Yes, I do know that. I'm going to be in Atlanta on Friday. For those of you that are going to be in Atlanta, I'll be in the Battery around where the Braves play. It's a bunch of restaurant bars, pretty cool area if you're going to Atlanta. Hopefully there's a baseball game on Friday night. I don't know what the weather situation is going to look like. So Friday in Atlanta, be out and about in the Battery. I'll let you know exactly where at some point this week, probably tomorrow. And then on Saturday, I would say that before and after the game, yes, and we're working on a spot for that. Working on a spot for that where everyone can come by and hang out. So should have an answer on that by tomorrow as well. Hope to see those of you going out to Auburn to stop and hang out. Shark says Tennessee fans next to us were singing their asses off. I'm sure they were.
They love country music in Tennessee. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. 903, I'm going to start asking who is available for the games instead of asking who might be available. Grayson and I were joking during the break. It's, maybe Brent says tonight that Hawkins is the quarterback. Maybe not. Maybe he's a coach that I'm not going to willingly give up information, even though everyone already knows who the quarterback's going to be, at least I think. What if they release a depth chart on Thursday or Friday and there's an or next to Jackson Arnold or Michael Hawkins' name? You think there's a chance of that?
Oh, man. Jackson
Arnold or Michael Hawkins?
I bet there is. Yeah, that could happen. Of course, we all know, right? Like, we all know that the or doesn't really mean anything. But, yes, it could very much be an or type of situation.
Daniel in New York City, is Nick Anderson out for the rest of the season?
I will say this.
There are rumors.
It's difficult at this point. If you're looking at things objectively and realistically, it's really difficult at this point to count on any sort of contribution from Nick Anderson and Andrell Anthony this year.
There's some. We'll see if Nick Anderson's back this year or not. But he tried to give it a go. Was he in there 2 to 3 series, and then that was kind of it for him. So. He did return finally for the first time this year, but it didn't really get anything out of him. Wisecracker said, you guys need to quit throwing shade on the fans. We sang, we cheered, we kicked ass. Were we throwing shade on the fans? Was I throwing shade? All I was saying is I was wondering at the end of the third quarter if people were going to get involved in that song or not, and Tennessee fans did. I already said at the beginning of the show, fans were awesome, man. Everyone showed up. Everyone was loud. Like, that place was insane in the first half, especially when OU was out on defense. Fans did their part. Fans were excellent.
Yeah, and the fact that they're not getting down to the Toby Keith sing-along is not an indictment on the fans. If anything, it's an indictment.
I didn't mean it that way.
It's an indictment on whoever handles the in-game entertainment aspect of the stadium experience at the University of Oklahoma. I went in on those guys/gals, that department last week, and all of my comments remain true. It's just not a very engaging presentation for the fan.
580, look on the bright side. No one will try to steal our offensive players with NIL dollars. Huh? Now we're getting to the positives. No one's going to try to take your players this offseason with NIL temptations.
We say that. Who? Oh, gosh.
Teams for the American going to try to raid your roster?
What if, like, Memphis bagged Hawkins?
North Texas is trying to take your offensive lineman back or something like that? Take a couple of your receivers?
Yeah, what if A&M coaxed Taylor Tatum into the portal? It can always get worse, folks. It can always get worse. Don't tempt fate.
405, did Nebraska losing help us with anyone on the recruiting trail? Not in 25. No, not really. No. In fact, Dylan Raiola's brother committed to him this weekend?
He did, yes.
Raiola?
Somebody said on Twitter, Nebraska has their Thanasis Antetokounmpo. I thought that was hilarious.
3-star Raiola, not the 5-star Raiola, but the 2026 quarterback, Dylan Raiola's little brother, committed to the Huskers. 1-star Big Rick in Owasso says the number 11 jersey is cursed. How do we feel about that? The cursing of the number 11 jersey. I mean, to have a conversation.
Kobe McKenzie also wears 11, and he's been all right. He's been pretty solid.
Oh, he's been excellent. Yeah, I thought he had a great game against Tulane.
I got no qualms with Kobe McKenzie, but on the offensive side of the ball, like who are the most recent guys to wear 11? Before Davis Bevel, it was Jaden Hazelwood.
Ooh, yeah, not great.
Okay, so yeah, maybe it is cursed. Maybe we do just cancel number 11.
Parnell Motley was 11, maybe before that. Piedmont, you big Piedmont fan?
I've never hated an OU player more than Parnell Motley. Dang. Not as a person, but as a player, to be clear. I'm sure he's a fine, upstanding individual. I hated watching Parnell Motley play the sport of football. It was miserable.
You know who wasn't miserable on Saturday and was actually pretty good? Lewis Carter got a chance to be a good player.
Lewis Carter looked
really well.
Awesome. Man, that looked like a couple of the plays he made. Watching it back, it's like, okay, yep, that's what it looks like. That's what SEC linebacker play needs to look like. That dude, if he sees more snaps, I will not argue.
443 texts from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Not bad, guys. 443 texts that hour. And I've still got 3 more hours left here.
Yes,
so.
And many listeners are pointing out that Teddy wore 11. Yeah, we can blame Teddy for cursing.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest numbers in OU football history. I mean, seriously, you can go – the number 11, though it may be cursed now, though you may not want to wear it anymore. It hasn't been great recently. The number 11 historically for OU is maybe the single most successful jersey number in program history. There's a lot of great players, All-Americans, award winners that have worn that number. It's just it's not going well. It's not going well right now. Not going well right now at all. Did you see General Booty's numbers, by the way, against Texas?
No, what were they?
I'm going to pull up exactly.
Were they General Booty?
They were Booty, all right. Yeah, they were. His final numbers were it was under 100 yards.
Ugh.
8 of 19 for 42 yards.
Oh, no.
0 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yep.
6.5 QBR. So he finally got his chance against Texas,
and
he was 8 of 19 for 42 yards.
Unfortunately, that QBR is 5 times higher than that of Jackson Arnold on Saturday.
It's like 1.2. Is that what the final number was?
I think it was 1.3.
Was it 1.3?
A 405 listener says, on the topic of in-stadium presentation/experience, can you explain why we were showing highlights of the Delaware versus Penn game?
I laughed at that. I liked that. Yes, I had a good chuckle at that. Did you catch that? By the way,
I
the
caught
scoreboard
that.
Update?
I wondered the same thing. What on earth is going on here? I mean, I get if it's like maybe like a Friday night in week 1 where there are legitimately no other games being played, but it's week 4 and you're in prime time. Delaware Penn. Okay.
Well, everyone there was like, huh, what's going on here? Except the one guy in the crowd that had Penn in the points or something like that. And he was like, yeah. I don't even remember what that game was.
Oh, so the degenerates loved it.
The degenerate that gambled on that game in there actually was a big fan of that. I'm just going back through my notes on the game on Saturday and just, man, Bauer Sharp drops it on 3rd and 12. Would have been a first down. There's just so many notes in here that are just a kick in the nuts all over again. I remember that drop by Bauer Sharp.
And I don't completely put that on Bauer Sharp because the ball was deflected, which, okay, you can make the argument he's a tight end. He should still be able to catch it. It's difficult. The trajectory of the ball changes. The flight of the ball changes. It's tougher than it looks. But
hit you in the hands, dog.
Yeah,
make a play.
It did hit him in both hands. I get that. All in all, just not a very clean night for Oklahoma offensively in any capacity. The one saving grace, though, is that you got a guy at the quarterback position now that seemed to get it rolling.
And I think everyone walking out of the stadium knew that, thought that. I mean, we had a whole 2-hour postgame show conversation about that. But did you get the feeling rewatching the game okay, I knew that was the case, but especially after watching the game again, it's even more obvious than I thought it was.
He looked better on rewatch. Jackson Arnold looked worse on rewatch. Michael Hawkins looked better. The chasm between those two widened upon rewatch. Last thing I'll say as well, shout out to Robert Spears-Jennings. He has been fantastic through the first 4 games.
Been one of your best players on defense for sure. All right, we got 3 more hours of this coming up next. Buckle up. It's The Rush on the other side right here on The Ref. We're the home of Sooner fans.